In this video, we're going to continue our series on programming basics and talk a little bit about conditional statements. I hope you enjoy the video. Branching or conditional statements are a vitally important part of programming and a key principle of the basics. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about what branching is. I am known throughout the community as a person who can get completely lost driving somewhere. I love the poem by Robert Frost where he talks about the road less traveled, and I added my little bit here. I took the road less traveled and am now completely lost. Well, for students sometimes branching conditional statements get you completely lost, and so I want to illustrate how we do conditional statements with hopefully a fairly simple example. It's one that we go to a lot in programming. I call it the guessing game, or guess a number. We're going to keep it really super duper simple because there's a lot that you can do in a guessing game to make it complex, but we're going to simply start with a mystery number. We're going to ask the user, a person, to give us a guess as to what that number is. They don't know what it is. We're going to tell them whether their guess was too high, too low, or if they hit it dead on. And then later on, we'll also give them a chance to guess again. But for now, really just the first three steps. So before we go on, I want you to take a few minutes. You might even have to press the pause button here. But think about, where is the branching in these three steps? We start with a number, we give somebody a chance to guess it, we tell them whether they were too high, too low, or right on. Where is the branching? Where is the condition? Okay, well, if you've taken hopefully a minute to think about that, the condition is actually in the third step because it's not a straight line, it's not a straight road. If all roads were straight roads, I would probably never get lost. But we have to decide, we have to make a decision based on what our mystery number is and what the person guessed, whether we do one of three different things, whether we display or tell the user they were too high or too low or right on. So there's our conditional statement. So here we are at our program so that we can take a look at this guessing game and implement it as a program. Okay, so I've already done some of the work here to get it ready. Let's just put here in the comments what we're trying to get. So guess a number is what we're trying to do. We're going to let's say assign a mystery number. We're going to ask user to guess number, and we're going to tell them if their guess was too high, too low, or correct. That's not so bad. So let's start. We're going to, there's a lot of things we could do here. We could randomly create the mystery number. All right, we can do that as we go along, but to keep this really super basic, we're going to hard code the mystery number. Our user isn't going to see it, so we're going to start with a mystery number, an integer. So in our last video, we talked about variables. We've got to find ourselves a little post office box, and we're going to call it mystery number, and we're just going to put a value in here for mystery number. You can hard code that to be whatever you'd like it to be, and you can change it and restart your program, and it can be something different. The only thing that is a little bit complex about this example is we want our customer, our user, to give us a guess. So that requires that we do something we've never done before, and that is import, I think it's that one. Let me just make sure. All right, so we need to put in this import statement. This tells the computer where to go get a specific little piece. So the first thing we've got here is our assignment of our mystery number. So the next thing we're going to do is let's ask our user to please make a guess. Okay, now you notice that I did something a little different than we've done in the past couple. Instead of print line, I just put print. Print prints out what we have here, but it doesn't put an end of line at the end, so it drops to the next line. This will allow the place where our user types in their guess to be right at the end of this line. Okay, now we're going to do something. Scanner input. So you don't have to know what all that means, but basically that's just setting up our input. And then we are going to have to collect the user's guess. We're going to create a mailbox for that, a variable, user guess. And we're going to get it from this input that we created. Next int. Okay, good. So it's going to ask the user for an integer. They type it in, hit enter, and it's going to put it in that user guess spot. Now, here's where the branching begins. Okay. We know that we want to do 3 different things. We know we want to print too high. We know we want to print too low. And we know we want to print correct. Okay? But we got to tell the computer, if we just left it like this, it would print all 3 of them. But we want it to be mutually exclusive. We want it to only print 1 of the 3, because a number that you guess can't be all 3. So that's where our conditional statement or our branch comes in. And so we're going to use a statement called an if statement to handle that. So let's talk about the if statement then. In its simplest form, there's not too much to it. We're going to say if, we're going to put in parentheses a logical expression that resolves to either a true or a false. So if user guess is greater than, remember that from grade school, mystery number. Okay, so if the user guess is greater than the mystery number, we want to tell them it's too high, right? So we're going to put the little squiggly braces around this statement. So it will only print too high if the user guess is greater than. So let's do this again for if the user guess is less than mystery number. We'll do the same exact thing. And then we're going to do it again here if user guess equals. We're going to use 2 equal signs. That's a logical equals in Java. My mystery number. And, oops. Okay. So let's just go through this really quick. We hard-coded a mystery number. The user doesn't know it, but we do. We ask the user for a guess. We print out this line, please make a guess. We ask them to input a guess from the keyboard, and we store it in the variable called user guess. Then we can use that guess in connection with the mystery number that's also a variable to decide what we output. Do we output too high? We do that if user guess is greater than the mystery number. Too low if the user guess is less than the mystery number, and we say it's correct if the user guess is equal to the number. Okay, so we've got all that in there. We're going to save it, and we're going to run it, and we're going to see what happens here. So I'm going to pull this output up here. So you see how it's printing it out here? Please make a guess. So we're going to guess. Let's guess 150. We know that that's too high because our mystery number is 123. Hit enter. You notice it's saying too high. Now, in a follow-on video, we'll talk about how to make this work a little better, where we give the user multiple chances. For right now, we're just going to rerun it. So we're back to making a guess. This time, let's put 100. We know that's too low. Ah, perfect. And now let's run it one more time. We'll make a guess, 1, 2, 3, and we get the correct output of being that it was correct. So this has been a very simple example of how we use a branch or a conditional statement. I hope that you have been able to see the value and importance of these statements as a part of a program.